What is up, everybody? It's your boy Doody back again with another video, and this time we're taking a look at our boy DSP's daily rap video posted earlier today, where our boy managed to get a whopping 200 views. That's right, I think it's been up for like 8 hours, and Phil's still struggling with the views. Interesting streaming day. Your boy didn't watch much this weekend. He was out touching grass, having fun, living life. That's right, but I did catch, of course, that our boy Phil wage quit WWE champions. That's right. Apparently, it just wasn't lucrative enough. And yeah, I got a lot to say about that, folks. By the way, I am streaming today at 10:30 Eastern. Should be a lot of fun. Come and hang out with your boy Doody.
Good evening, everyone. Phil here, and welcome to the Daily Wrap for what was Sunday, the 27th of October, 2024, my return day to a full week of streaming on DSP Gaming, both on YouTube and, of course, DSP Gaming Reel on Kick. Wow, what a day. What an interesting day. Let's talk a little bit about it, because it was a pretty loaded day. And some interesting stuff happened, particularly on the night stream. So, first things first, I came back and had a lot of topics to discuss, including getting some booze. Thursday's annual Halloween event is going to be great. Sucks that I couldn't do one last year, but now I'm drinking scotch for the first time on Thursday. That's going to be interesting. Plus, talking about various topics, such as a new interesting goal to keep the support streak alive this week. Katsu Burger. Never heard of it? I don't blame you, because it's a local thing out here. Check out the podcast or the highlights that I made if you want information about that. Another chunk of the show was me essentially getting caught up with Review Tech USA, and if you're wondering why, it's very simple, because my name keeps coming up whenever this guy keeps doing stupid shit, and it's for good reason. All right, again, he harassed me for so long that now he's literally having things happen to him that are either so hypocritical or so ironic that everyone's bringing me up, but not in a negative light, which is a good thing. So anyway, in this regard, I did a segment on him as well. So all 3 segments will likely be highlights uploaded overnight tonight if you just don't want to check out the raw show. And then we jumped into Call of Duty Black.
I'm going to stop it here. Your boy Doody actually was part of that stream where Keemstar was chatting it up with Rich and Phil. Your name didn't come up. Why are you trying to make it look like you were the center of the whole conversation? Keemstar brought you up one time. He brought you up one time to illustrate a point to Richard, where he mentioned that he said, look, man, you're being hypocritical, and that's the problem. Keemstar's issue with Rich is that he's being a hypocrite. And he just pointed out the one fact that Rich harps on Phil's May 1st burst moment. That's where he brought you up, Phil. He didn't have, the whole conversation wasn't around, why do you trash DSP? He doesn't give two shits about you. And he said so. He actually believes that you're going to screw this up, which most people do believe that. You're going to screw up the Renaissance. So you weren't the focal point, Phil. That conversation had nothing to do with you at all. It had to do with Rich and apparently, allegedly, some mistress or whatever. It had nothing to do with you, Phil, but you wanted to interject yourself in the conversation because it's remotely the only thing that brings you views. I mean, if we look at his content, his gameplays are getting like 200 views if he's lucky. Daily Rap, 200 views if he's lucky. WWE Champions can't even break 300 views. The only thing that remotely brings him a little bit of views is the drama shit. Like when he brings up Review Tech USA, or he brings up Doody, or he brings up Detractors, he may get a bump up to like 800 or 900 views. No one cares, Phil. No one gives two shit about what you think on a given Sunday. Honestly, and I'm not being rude, Phil. I'm not. People might say, well, you're just being a detractor and you disregard everything Phil says. Not true at all. Not true. If you watch any of my content, I don't detract like that with Phil. I have my issues with Phil. I have my gripes with Phil, and I typically stick with those gripes, and I'm not going to shit on him for him stating a fact. If he was brought up and he was the center of the conversation, I would say, yeah, he was the center of the conversation. It doesn't hurt me to say that Phil was talked about in a positive light. But in this conversation, you were brought up once as an example. But of course, anytime Phil hears his name, or because he watched that video. He was bored as fuck. He watched it and he heard his name, or one of his monkeys came to him and said, "Oh, Phil, Keem is talking about you." And of course, he didn't bother watching the segment. He just interjected himself in the conversation and he made it all about himself. And that's what Phil does. Phil always makes everything about him. And it wasn't about you, Phil, at all. This had nothing whatsoever to do about you. But of course, you need to make that. You need to try to, keep the Kino folks interested in your boring ass content because they've checked out. Besides like 3 people, 3 of the whales, Void, Darkside Pimp, and that other one, Ren. Everyone else has tuned the fuck out of your content. No one gives a shit. Even the Kino guys are like being upfront and honest and saying Phil is boring. His content is boring. That's why people leave. And even PPP said, I tried to make something of him. I tried to make him change. I tried having him do something different. And he refuses. He rather just stay in his lane, stay in his little box, and beg for $50 or $150 a day. And he's content with that. And it's just pathetic, Phil. You sound so pathetic, man. I mean, it reminds me when you're on the on the Kino stream, and you're trying to get attention, and you're just saying the stupidest shit, man. You sound like a 13-year-old fat girl trying to get the attention of the more popular girls, and it's quite sad, Phil. You're denigrating yourself. Someone who talks about how everything he does is meaningful. Yeah, it's meaningful being on some other men's podcast at 2 a.m. instead of being with your wife and trying to get their attention. It's pathetic, brother. Let's keep going.
Black Ops 6 multiplayer. Today, I did a variety of stuff, including dominating with the handgun, some more shotgun gameplay for sure. The whole first hour was shotgun because that was part of the daily challenges they did today. I actually did a lot of SMG. I was playing with the default SMG, and people were like, no, switch to like the KVD, KSV, whatever it is. It's one of those two. And I used that for a long time, and we were leveling up and having a good time. In general, Call of Duty is great. You know, there's still some issues with the game and some nonsense when you get into certain kinds of connections, but for the most part, having a good time. Positive kill death ratio pretty much almost every match. Really doing well on PC, enjoying my time with it. Silly enough, I totally had forgotten to put the customized joysticks on my controller today, so I was playing with standard joysticks for a long chunk. But I was still doing good, and then I was like, oh, I totally forgot to do that, and I also had forgotten to do the trigger adjustments, right? Oh my god, I can't believe that I forgot to do all this, because it probably would have given me better performance. And then I did it, and of course, I even started playing even better. So anyway, it went well, hit the goals, everything good. Late stream tonight was WWE Champions, all right? Now, to be completely transparent with all of you, I've already had the feeling for over 2 weeks that WWE Champions was on the way out. What I mean by that is, you can see less people showing up for the streams, way less enthusiasm to hit the goals, to do polls and everything. It definitely was decreasing at a rapid rate, okay? I think what it is very simple. WWE Champions was a great gimmick because when I started actually playing it in August, or early September, but I think it was late August, it was a way to jab at my trolls, who for years had made it a major focal point of all of the detractor content around me, saying that Phil plays WWE Champions and he spends money on it and blah, 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 and if he ever gets exposed for this or admits it, he's going to be destroyed. Well, guess what? I admitted it, and I didn't get destroyed. In fact, I started playing the game, spending money on it regularly, and everyone got basically thrown for a loop that I did it, and I had the balls to do it. And guess what? I didn't lose my viewership. I didn't lose anything. People were watching and engaging and supporting for me to pull in the game. But the gimmick kind of wore out after a while. Now, we got a little bit of reinvigoration like 2 weeks ago when I streamed my first time ever on Kick, and people wanted to see me play the game, and they supported in droves. I did the shirt rip and everything. But since then, you can tell it's on a downward slope. In fact, last week, we didn't even hit the goal during the stream. The stream turned off, and then someone had sent in a Hail Mary tip at the end so the stream could continue. And I was like, wow. At least someone allowed it to continue, but that was close, right? So tonight we played for a whole hour. I raised like $20. And I asked the audience what's up, and most people in the chat were like, yeah, we are so bored with this game. Just play anything else. We're dying to see you play more Call of Duty. It just came out. That's the hot thing. Play it. So I was like, let's do a poll. I did a poll both on YouTube and Kick, and here's what's hilarious about it. As I do the poll, immediately over 100+ people join the YouTube stream, and 50+ people join the Kick stream, and those viewers immediately vote, keep playing WWE Champions in the poll. So the poll results makes no sense, because we're getting hundreds more votes than we had as viewers on stream. It's complete nonsensical bullshit. My trolls think I'm stupid. I'm not. The entire stream saw it, called it out, and said, yeah. So if you subtract the votes, everyone wants Call of Duty. So we said goodbye to WWE Champions tonight. We played it for an hour. It got boring. And we're like, you know what? It was a good ride. What we will do is maybe from time to time, we'll periodically go back to it. Maybe you'd like to see it sometime in November for variety stream. Maybe you'd like to see it in December during a Christmas event. For the most part, I think you guys know what the game is. Some people like it, some people don't, but it's kind of played out. There's nothing really to it. You've seen the loop of it, of what it is, right? That's why it was never a big deal to begin with. I can play whatever I want. I can play mobile games. I can play other games. I can spend money on whatever I want. It's all good. I'm earning my money legit, and I can spend it on whatever I want, and no one has a right to criticize me ever again. This entire topic has been completely destroyed and will no longer be a topic of discussion. In fact, that's why, if you haven't noticed, my trolls don't even bring it up anymore. They got to keep making up little nonsensical shit every day that doesn't stick, and then they have to make something else up the next day. They're done. They're completely destroyed. No WWE champions ever again for them, and they're fucked. Okay? So after an hour, we started playing Call of Duty. Call of Duty went well. I was using the SM.
Oh man, I got a lot to say about this. Well, first of all, Phil, no, it's not done. It isn't. And I'm not sure what delusional world you live in, but WWE champion gets brought up almost every fucking day. I post a video at least once a week talking about WWE champions, Phil, and your spending. And you know what? It gets 10 to 15, on average about 10,000 views. More than what you get in like 3 days. It takes you 3 days to get 10,000 views, Phil. So I'm not sure exactly what the fuck you're talking about, brother. That's some serious cope. It is. So that's the first thing. And that's just YouTube. Other content creators talk about WWE champions, and they get way more views than you do. So that's number one. Number two, Twitter. People talk about that shit all day long. They meme, and they get a lot of engagement on it, and people laugh and mock you, Phil. Even fucking Keno folks are still bringing up WWE champions and mocking you about it. So what exactly are you fucking talking about that no one brings up WWE champions, brother? It's brought up every fucking day. So first cope, right there. I debunked that. And people are still going to talk about it. The second thing is, you know what this did for you, Phil? All this did was just expose you. Yeah, okay, you feel like you have the right to now, or have carte blanche to spend whatever money you want on your mobile game addiction. Knock yourself the fuck out. Go ahead and keep doing that. Let's see how long this support lasts, right? All this did was it just gave you this self-inflated ego about yourself that you could do anything and it doesn't matter. You know, Trump said it himself. Trump said he can go out into Times Square and Minecraft someone and people would still vote for him. The just being so egotistical, Phil, that you actually think you can go ahead and do whatever the fuck you want and no one's gonna hold you accountable. Go ahead and continue doing that, because all you're gonna do is you're gonna shoot yourself in the fucking foot. And I'm gonna be here to record it, to comment on it, and it's just gonna be more fucking content. All right, so that's the second thing. The third thing here, Phil, is, yeah, okay, you're gonna tell us that you thought WWE Champions was just a gimmick, so much so that you thought WWE Champions was a gimmick, so much so that you decided to put all this time and effort to open up a merch shop, right? Oh, but it was just a gimmick, right? What was your first piece of merchandise? Philomania. Look at the shirt he's wearing right now, Philomania. He bought that fucking head wrap in the back that he keeps it as one of his decorations that says Philomania. But yet he's here to try to make you believe that this was just a gimmick, and he knew all along that it was going to get played out. This reminds me of the fucking vest streak. Remember the vest streak, when the vest streak was hopping, everything was fine, and of course Phil had to milk that because that's all he had going. And everything was about the vest, right? He did the emotes about the vest. He bought all these different vests. He hyped up the vest. Every other fucking word out of his mouth was vest streak, right? And then when it died, he panicked because he had no fucking clue or no idea what to do. And he spent weeks trying to figure it out, moping and being sad and essentially yelling at his fucking viewers for killing the vest streak. And he literally said, I don't know what to do. The whole channel was centered around the vest streak. It's the same thing here, Phil. You tried to center you opened up a fucking Kick channel, and the promise with the Kick channel was that you were going to stream WWE Champions over there. Really, Phil? And you expect us to believe, honestly, that this was simply just a gimmick? Come on, brother. The cope is real, Phil. No one is buying that. Why can't you just admit the truth? Again, this comes down to, it doesn't come down to what you actually do that annoys people, Phil. It really doesn't. Because I think 95% of the people don't give a shit what you actually do. What bugs you, right? What bugs people is the hypocrisy. Just like Keemstar said to Rich, it doesn't matter what you did, Rich. It doesn't matter if you had a mistress or if you were simping for women. It doesn't matter. What matters in the the court of public opinion is hypocrisy. No one likes fucking hypocrisy, Phil. And that's why people shit all over you and hold you to such a standard, because you're a fucking hypocrite and you lie. That's the other thing. It's really never the crime that's so severe. It's lying about the crime. That's what gets you in trouble, is lying about the crime. Let me use an analogy here for you, Phil, that you might understand. Okay, you don't pay your taxes, right? And it goes to court or whatever, and there's an investigation that's done, and they realize that you purposely committed fraud. Right, you created a shell company, you had offshore accounts, you were purposely doing this, right? That's way different than someone who just files their taxes every year and miscalculated, or they screwed something up, or honestly, they didn't really have enough money to pay their taxes, so they withheld paying. There's two differences there. Both of them are wrong and guilty, and both of them could be held, you know, to punishment, to financial punishment, penalties, and so on. But one is a more severe crime than the other. Which one, Phil, is the more severe crime? The more severe crime is purposely trying to deceive the government, right? Purposely doing it, like willfully doing it. It's a lot different than simply someone just miscalculating or doing something wrong. So hopefully that analogy with tax, and I'm sorry if I don't have a sandwich shop analogy that you might understand, but maybe the tax one will, since you're that near and dear to your heart, not paying your taxes. Okay, Phil. So the next time you decide to not pay your taxes, kick up a little scheme. Try to do a shell company. Try to manipulate what you owe in taxes, right? And let an investigation be done, and let's see how well that works out for you. Let's see if you get a payment plan for the next 10 years to pay back those back taxes. Let's see if that happens, Phil. No, you're gonna end you're gonna end up in jail, Phil. Okay. Anyway, that's all I have to say. He talks about Call of Duty. No one gives a shit. Don't forget, fellas, I'm going to be streaming today at 10:30. Please be there. Peace out.